you get into a new environment, if you get into if I appointed the general manager of this establishment, for instance, you can't come on the first day of your resumption. Exactly. You are telling staff that if you are not going, if you don't come to work early, I will sack you. If you don't come like this, I will do you like this. No. I think that the first thing should be that you first and foremost study the environment. Because there is nothing that happens without any cost. Okay. If people are not paying ground rent, there is a reason why they are not paying ground rent. It's either the FCT administration is not coming to collect, or there is a mistrust.
There's no justification for that. They're simply flouting. No, for example, those who are not paying tax.
If they are flouting, there is a body charge with responsibility of making.
And that's what it's doing. Is enforcing it.
That's what I'm saying. That he should be able to call everybody together.
And that's what he's doing.
And say to them, see, this is a new era. We have to work together.
That's the same thing he said.
Then after that, you will now begin to talk about those who are not agreeing to work together with you.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I get your picture. His body language and the way he sounded on the first day, frightening a lot of people. Say, this.
It doesn't have, as a minister, you don't have to start that way.
No, there's nothing wrong with him coming to an environment that needed some forcefulness to say, you must do this. If you don't, if you build on water right of way and you block drains and you build art of planning, I'll demolish your house. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing is that I'm trying to tell you that it is his body language that's being misunderstood. As it is today, I'm not trying to defend him. You are right in what you're saying. But as it is today, does it not seem as if his disposition and body language has paid off?
Well, I am not the resident of the FCT, so
from the reports coming.
I wouldn't say whether it's because this report, as much as I know, may have been manipulated. We know our colleagues very well. We know what you can do and what you cannot do and things like that. In fact, I remember that it's all about what is put out there, what you are allowed to be put out there. And of course, you know that the minister of the FCT is a media. When I say media friendly,
it's media friendly.
He's a man that likes to be in the media, okay. You know. So he has brought a lot of popularity to that ministry. He has made the ministry a little more popular than it used to be. But then,
except during every 5 times.
But then, whether that will translate into results is yet to be seen. Now, it's also important for you to know that, like Igbo people will say, if you take a fowl from one place and take the fowl to a new ground, the fowl will start first with one leg. Yes, you will argue that, yes, that place is a part of Nigeria, is a Nigerian, yes. But then there are those whose ancestral homes are there in the FCT, and they too also have a right.
He bought cars for the chiefs.
Is that what?
No, recently.
I don't care what he does with whether he.
So he has reached out to them. If that's what you mean.
Reaching out to them is not about car now. It's not that the car will be driven only by.
No, that's only symbolic.
Yeah, that the car will be driven only by one village chief. He's not going to be with the car reduce the amount of kidnapping going on.
He has listened to them.
With the car bring down the level of criminality in the FCT. With the car bring back the life of Courage, Ogunleye, or is that easy Ogunleye? Courage, the young lady that was thrown out of the moving vehicle that was rejected in the hospital. With the car that he bought for the chiefs, will he be able to bring back that life? The answer is no. So I think that the FCT minister should just focus on bringing sanity to the FCT.
Okay.
Reduce the incidence of one chance, reduce the incidence of violation of the city's master plan, and then reach out to the adjoining communities, the Gwagwaladas and the Kubuas of this,
the natives,
and then make sure that FCT is supposed to be the safest place in this country. And if we're not getting that, then the minister has a lot of work to do. So it's just not enough to buy cars. As you appointed a Fred Bako now to head the environmental aspect.
You're just a special advisor.
Yes, you should also get some other professionals who also handle different aspects of the life in FCT, and let us see what happens. Whether the city's master plan and the glory of the city can come back fully restored.
I think you're right there. I think if you're talking about what he has doing and what reports that are coming, he's talking about tax payment. He's enlarging the tax net, and they insist that people must pay their tax, or enforcement of the laws.
And he has succeeded in removing the FCT ministry from the Treasury single account. So
it was the president that did that.
He's now,
I use money to develop the place.
Yes, so he now has a lot of money. So let us see what happens with the money that he has.
He's talking about blue rail, and so much. I think that FCT minister has been very busy, really.
Yeah.
And that initial suspicion and attack seems to be dying down, except for Gumi's noise recently. And a lot, of course.
I think that Gumi,
after Christian youths recently.
I think that Gumi should not be taken serious. I mean, he shouldn't be taken serious because he can't say. When I read that story, I read it and I laughed it off because Gumi is not somebody that you should take serious. I mean,
why not?
FCT, as much as we know, the Federal Capital Territory, as much as we know, is not an Islamic enclave. So we have more Christians in FCT than we have Muslims. I stand to be corrected,
well,
but we have more Christians than we have Muslims in FCT.
So you're talking about indigenous population.
Yes, and so we should not even put tribe or religion in the actions of the minister.
Exactly.
What you should put is the national interest. Is the city's master plan being restored? That's what you should be. That's what they're interested in. So Gumi should not give his advice to himself.
Okay, let's look at the next story. I think I like your analysis. Former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission yesterday insisted that the commission must probe why the upload of the presidential poll results to INEC results being portal failed. Jega stated this while speaking in an interview on a national television. The former INEC chief said he could relate to many of the challenges faced during the general election. Jega said before he left the commission, an evaluation of the success and failure rate of the card reader was carried out. Well, what is the duty of INEC? You have INEC has pre-election activity, election activity, and post-election activity.
Yes.
So he's talking about what they should do as post-election activity.
Well, I think that INEC is highly overrated. INEC needs to be unbundled. The law that guides the establishment of that body that is charged with the sensitive assignment as the election, the laws that guide its operation should be tightened a little bit more. INEC has a lot of spaces to play around with. And so it's like when you go to your tailor makes mistake in making your dress. And when you complain, he will tell you that that mistake is a style. You know, that's what INEC is doing with us when it comes to election. INEC has a lot of power to do a lot of things. And because they have a lot of power to do a lot of things, it becomes a matter of anybody we like. If we want A to win, A will win. If we want B to win, B will win. In fact, I remember in 2015, I covered the election here in Rivers State in 2015. Then we had the famous Gesila Khan as the resident electoral commission. And I remember in one of the press sessions we had, even though she told us that then that this should be off the camera, but that she will not be in Rivers State, and certain political parties will win the state. She said it, and the way she said it was what happened. And at the end of the day, the way she said it didn't actually happen. So at the end of the day, also what happened to her. We saw how she suffered and everything. So INEC is supposed to come out clearly to tell us what happened to the IREF, because the reason why the 2023 general election generated the kind of interest it generated was because INEC was always assuring Nigerians that electronic transmission of results will be the intake. The BVAS machine was there to capture the number of people who voted. So at that point, the issues of overvoting and ballot box stuffing was reduced drastically. Then the other one was to transmit election results from the polling unit to the IRF. Now, because of that, people became more interested. I covered the election here in Rivers State, and I was in on that day of election, I was in 4 local areas. And I know what I saw at most of the polling units that were visited. And I know what we saw in some of the results that we collated at the polling unit there at the time we were there. So when the result now came out, it came out differently. Now, INEC as of today, has not been able to tell us why the presidential election result was not uploaded to the IRF. And then, to also support what Jega is saying, during the final collation and announcement at the National Conference Center in Abuja, I remember the PDP agent, and supported by the Labour Party agent, their national secretary, raising the point that the INEC guideline, INEC rules stated that the results that will be announced will be juxtaposed with what is on the IRF. And 1 state, 2 states, 3 states, 4 states we are called results announced without being juxtaposed with the IRF copy of the result. And they raised that alarm and said, this is not what you told us. You are doing another thing. So can we wait, let all the results get into the IRF so we can now begin to, so that by the time you say state A, you give us the IRF result of that state, so we'll compare the two and see whether they are the same, because that's what you promised to do. But INEC refused and then went on. And at the end of the day, as of today, the results that came from the IRF, even though the court said IRF was not backed by law, INEC has not come out to say, no, we did not, we did that is what, so INEC needs to, INEC needs to do a lot of review, introspection, a lot of soul searching. And finally, I think that INEC and INEC personnel should not be appointed by the president.
That is the point.
They should not be appointed by the president. They should be appointed by a joint...
Just like the judges are appointed by NJC.
Yes, a joint
that's
committee.
Recommended to the president for appointment.
A joint committee of the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, the civil society organization, the labor bodies.
Where would the approval go? Where would the approval come?
The religious...
Because that would be infringing against the constitution. That would mean amending the constitution.
So by the time this person gather together, they will have an interview of potential...
And then gives the president's approval.
And then it's not just the approval. The president's one is not to approve. The president's one is to announce.
Okay.
The president, his job will just be to announce what this body has done. That way, the person that is so appointed is not owing his appointment or her appointment to anybody. As a matter of fact, INEC is supposed to be independent. What that means is that INEC gets its funding
subject to approval by the Senate and the National Assembly.
You don't even need all those.
No, you need that because
No.
National Assembly.
No, see, if you go to National Assembly, there is a political party that is in the majority.
No, but the judges, for example, the way judges are appointed, the NJC nominates as State Judicial Service Commission.
Yes.
And then the president now approves, or the governor approves.
Yes.
So I think that is the process that can tally with the recommendation, the position of the Constitution.
No, but it doesn't go through legislative approval.
No, there's legislative approval too.
For in NJC? No.
For Chief Judge, for example?
No.
At the end of the...
Did he stand before the Senate? The answer is no.
No, I think there's a National Assembly approval at the end of the day. There is that element because the 3 arms of government are involved in that selection.
Does the National Assembly...
The judges don't do that, yeah.
Does the judiciary interfere in the election of principal officers in the National Assembly?
That is the question.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's proper for the chief judge of the Federation to stand before any Senate for approval. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
I don't think that. So INEC chairman should also go through that same way. By the time we rework our constitution and get a body, just like we have NJC, get a body that is a mix-up of executive, legislature, judiciary, civil society organizations, security agencies, a body that can sit together.
That's a brilliant suggestion.
That sit together and interview potential candidates. And when the candidate is so appointed, it does not need the approval of the Senate or the President. All the President simply needs to do is to announce that this body has picked so and so person as the chairman of INEC. In fact, that announcement should also be a constitutional matter. So the President does not have the right to say he will not announce. Yes.
Okay. All right. But we know that the president is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes, he cannot.
And in the presidential system, he wields a lot of powers. To whittle down his power may be a very difficult tax.
In this matter, it's not within the president's power. Because the president is also an interested party in the matter. So it doesn't affect his power in any way.
All right, let's think that the INEC is actually independent. That is the issue.
Yes.
Now, Speaker of the House, let's take this last story for the last hour, half hour. Speaker of the House of Reps, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, yesterday said the 10th National Assembly will empower the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to effectively carry out its statutory mandates. Abbas, who gave the assurance while receiving the management of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission on a courtesy call in his office in Abuja, decried the Commission's battle with lack of adequate funding and infrastructure, among others, will be taken care of. The chairman of the Commission, Mohammed Bello Shehu, led the federal commissioners and other top management staff on the visit. The Speaker, who said he was conversant about Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission activities, having served as a House Committee member on Finance for 8 years, said he has been an advocate of additional powers for the Commission and also stressed the need for the Parliament to come to the rescue of the Commission. Very important thing there. The way they do their job, Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, I think that they need more powers. Do you think otherwise?
You know, the problem, well, I don't think the problem they have is giving them more power. The problem they have is the willingness or the political will of the relevant bodies in Nigeria, the executive and what have you, to allow these persons to do their job. I think the problem they have is trying to get some politicians' approval of the job they do. You know, their work is, they are the ones that fix salaries and emoluments of all these principal officers and things like that. They should be patriotic enough to say that within their powers, because the law did not say that they should consult the Senate before they fix the prices. The salaries. They don't consult the Senate. They don't consult the president. They don't consult based on the variables available to them. They fix the price based on.
Can they do wage review on beyond what they are doing now? Because the time between when wage review is done and when the next one is done seems to be too long, as it were.
Well, they are the ones who designed it.
Okay.
It is their responsibility. They are the ones who designed it.
Is it not by law? Okay, we'll know. We'll have to know that.
Even if whether it is by law or by their own statutes as a body, I think that what is important for them is for them to be, for the officers of that body, that commission, to be patriotic enough to say that in Nigeria of today, one person who comes to the office for maybe once a week or 2 times a week should not be earning 800,000 naira a month. When somebody who goes to work from first day of the month to last day of the month goes home with less than 30,000 or less than 40,000 naira, as the case may be. It is for them to sit down and be patriotic and also bear in mind that this person that gets 800,000 and this person that gets less than 40,000, all of them go to the same market. All of them eat the same food. It's just a question of how you garnish your own. That's the difference. So they should be, like I said, they should be patriotic enough to see that as you are fixing the price of the political appointees, you're also looking at what happens to the ordinary man down there, the civil servants, those who are still under the minimum wage.
And when you talk of salaries, there doesn't seem to be fairness in this country in the way salaries and wages are fixed for workers. NPC is in a different world altogether. Universities are different worlds together. Doctors earn differently, different professions, and yet you don't have that equity. Teachers don't earn as much as these people earn.
Our colleagues also don't.
Our journalists don't have special salary scale. So having special salary scale for some professionals is something that should be looked into.
It's something that should be looked into actually. For instance, journalists should be earning well, Because
with hazard allowance and all.
Hazard, yes, because when we talk about fake news, you talk about misinformation and disinformation in the society. You talk, oh, don't carry fake news, don't carry fake news. You can't be telling someone who is hungry not to carry fake news. If fake news is going to feed him, I think that the person will just...
So managers of information should be properly
remunerated so that the chances of them carrying fake news or disseminating fake news can be reduced drastically. You can't be, because you can't be, for instance, somebody who is a grade level 9 officer in a broadcast station, his salary a month is not up to night allowance of somebody who works of a typist in NNPC or in DPR.
Yes.
You know, a DPR, somebody who works as even in NDDC.
Yes.
The person who works as a driver in NDDC can afford to buy land in Port Harcourt and build house. Whereas a grade level 9 or grade level 10...
You're talking about directors.
Directors in government-owned broadcast organizations cannot even boast of a 2-bedroom apartment where they will pay rent. So I think that this body has a lot of work to do to have a kind of overhaul of the salary scale, salary structure in this country, and pay people...
Bring equity.
Yes, pay people according to what they are putting in. Pay people according to what they are putting in. Like I said before, you can't pay a lawmaker who comes to make law just for 2 hours or 3 hours. Some of them even go there from year 1 to final year of their stay in either the red chamber or the green chamber. Never said one thing, and they are collecting salary.
Warming seats.
So I think that they should rise up to the occasion and then do fairly. Do something that is fair.
Equity, justice.
Make sure that equity and justice
good conscience.
Yes, are served to Nigerian workers.
All right. Well, that's the much we can take for this half hour. We're going to short break. When we come back, we take more. Well, Kingsley is still here in the studio, and I'm I'm still here too. Don't get away.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourable human trafficker. Honourable
they are not picking our calls. They made up their
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all
leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. It is still Grace Roundtable coming to you live on Atlantic Television Network. Let's go back on the discussion segment and let's look at some of the stories. This one is coming from the, Abia State Governor Alex Otti has consulted the Northern Consensus Movement and they have withdrawn the 14-day ultimatum it earlier issued to Igbo residents in the north to quit. Northern Consensus Movement, which is an amalgamation of community-based socio-cultural and economically inclined northern organizations, issued the ultimatum after Oti converted Lokpanta cattle market to a daily and non-residential one. The governor's decision was viewed as a quick notice to northerners. Northern Consensus Movement withdrew its order after meeting with the governor. And the leadership of Umuche's cattle market on Tuesday. Aliu said at the meeting with the governor, they realized that there was no tribal sentiment attached to the state government's decision. You know, this idea of always misreading body language. Nigeria seems to be a country of trust deficit in virtually everything we are doing. We misread body language, we misread. And just like Larry Timi said, the problem is that in holding talks, everybody seems to be talking at the same time and nobody's listening to the other. We don't have a listening culture. That's the problem with Nigeria.
Well, I think that first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the Abia State governor. He's one governor that has so far excited me because as far as I'm concerned, he has been ticking all the right buttons as far as I'm concerned. And so this is another plus for him. First, if you've been to that Lokpanta market, cattle market, on your way to Enugu, Port Harcourt Expressway, when you get to that Lokpa, you will understand the kind of risk that is inherent in allowing that market to continue there. So I think that the governor was spot on. It was right. It was that decision to dismantle that place and make it
non-residential.
A non-residential market is one of the most beautiful things that any governor could have done. And I commend the governor of Abia State for taking that decision. I also commend the Northern group for seeing reasons, because, you know, somebody who is not very close to you will not understand why you keep your head the way you kept your head, you know. They had to engage the governor, and then at the end of the discussion, they are the ones who say, okay, we withdraw this because what governor did, he didn't do it because it was our brothers that are living there. So I'm sure that what they have seen is that even if it was the Lokpanta people that were living there, that market would have been dismantled. So I think it's a good way to go. As a matter, there is no reason for giving any ultimatum to anybody into the reasons of.
Yes, what I don't like is the fact they thought the way they thought in the first place. Ethnic prejudice is a very big problem. That prejudice, until we stop it. Yes, one of the reasons why we have this religious problem too. Trust deficit in Nigeria.
No, you will not also blame them, because this can also be done on ethnic and tribal lines.
Religious.
Yes, religious lines, you know. So it's good that both the northern group and the governors had a meeting, and at the end of the meeting, it became clear that the decision...
That is why open governance is important.
Yes.
Proper communication maybe would have solved the initial suspicion.
Yes.
That is important.
I think that suspicion actually arose from what has been happening before.
Exactly, and then poor communication.
And now they have engaged the governor of Abia State, and they have seen that this man is different from what they are used to, because they are the ones confessing by themselves now that they have discovered that the reason for what governor did was not out of any ethnic or religious sentence. So they are very okay with it. So what they want to do is to find a way of encouraging their people to get in, to get apartments,
get into the town,
get apartments somewhere else,
like
get into the town, live with other people, and
corruption, insecurity.
Creating security. Yes. By the time they move around with people, live around the people, they create more economy. They make the economy of those villages also boom, and you know. So I think it's a good one for both the governor and the northern group.
Yes, let's look at the next story. It could be the last. Our Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center has begun a sensitization campaign in secondary school in Rivers State against organized crimes ranging from drug abuse, cultism, examination malpractice, and violent extremism. It describes organized crimes as a category of transnational, national, local government of highly centralized enterprise run by criminals to engage in illegal activities and most commonly for profit. Youth and Environment Advocacy Center's Executive Director, Fineface Dunamene Fineface, spoke yesterday at the commencement of the campaign at Community Secondary School Bori in Kana local government area of the state, saying that organized crimes were continuously maintained through corruption of public officials and the use of intimidation, threats, or forces to protect its operations. Well, it's a very big campaign, and I think that we need this kind of reorientation in our schools.
Absolutely.
Because drug addiction starting from that level.
Yes.
Crime, cultism, and all that. Because that is bringing criminality from the crutch, as it were.
Yes. Well, I like to commend Fineface, our friend Fineface Dunamene, for this wonderful initiative. You know, it's important that we reorientate the mindset of our young ones.
Yeah. On
the need for them to live right. Forget about cultism, forget about drug addiction, forget about gangsterism and what have you. Because all these things will not lead anybody anywhere. It will just end up, you will just end up wasting your life. You will just end up becoming a nuisance and being a source of regret for your parents and your community and what have you. Look at what happened in Lagos yesterday. A medical doctor was sentenced to life imprisonment. Why? Because of defilement of a 16-year-old girl that was left under his custody. You know. So, and I think that when students, and I think that
they grow with that kind of.
I think that the medical doctor himself must have had this tendency while growing up, must have seen it as a norm while growing up. So that's why this campaign is very, very important. That at this early stage, young ones are made to understand that there is no gain in gangsterism, there is no gain in cultism, there is no gain in drug addiction, there is no gain in cybercrime, there is no gain in corruption. Driving one way on the street is bad. You know, if you grew up with this type of mentality,
we need it in schools.
You become a more refined person. You become a person of value to the society. You become a person who adds value to wherever you find yourself. But what you have today, unfortunately, what we have today is the kind of mentality that parents instill in their children. Most parents have made their children see this world as survival of the fittest. Anybody that you can undo the person and move on. The undoing people and moving on is seen as being smart.
Yes.
That
is the problem we have. Because this morass of social malaise, of corruption, of bad behavior, is something that people cultivate from secondary school.
Yes.
I was, recently, the man threatened at the face, a very young fellow who could not be anything less than 18 years.
Yes.
So they have this kind of effrontery emanates from the kind of life they cultivate from school.
From be corrupted, it's a matter that we can debate from now to
yes.
But for me, I use myself.
They are bringing because the times are different. We live in a world of dispensation.
do it, you can. If you keep on telling a child that, see, it is wrong to take what does not belong to you, suppose it.